participants here on the virtual platform for the national webinar. The topic of today's national webinar is marketing. As you know very well, the college has been conducting a mega series of national and international webinars. The theme of national webinar is Women Empowerment and Women Dignity and Environmental Conservation. The objectives of webinar series are to exchange knowledge, to enrich knowledge, and to have intellectual discussions among participants to get answers to questions and solutions to problems. The webinar series is going on very successfully because of the very good management, innovative management, and strong academic leadership of the principal, Honorable Dr. M. Bedkar sir, who is the chief organizer and chairperson of this webinar series. In the beginning of this webinar, I welcome him as the chairperson of the webinar. Today I am very happy to inform that we have Honorable Dignitary as a keynote speaker, P DERAIN SMILY ma'am from Shri Krishnaswamy College for Women, Chennai. Honorable ma'am is going to enlighten us on the topic influencer marketing. I heartily welcome you, ma'am, as the keynote speaker for this national webinar. I also welcome all honorable organizing committee members, Vice Principal Dr. S.D. Misal sir, Junior College Supervisor Ravindra Karanje sir, MCVC Supervisor Praveen Udge sir, IQAC Coordinator Dr. Sanjay Kale sir, Dr. Anita Dhole ma'am, Dr. Sudhir Garad sir, Dr. Patwari sir, Ambadas Khillare sir, and Dr. Wadkar sir. The audience is eagerly waiting for the keynote speech to be started by the honorable speaker. But prior to it, I request Dr. Anita Dhole ma'am to introduce today's chief guest and keynote speaker. Please ma'am, welcome.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. You are welcome to this grand national and international webinar series. On occasion of Golden Jubilee year of the college, Shri Kumarswamy Mahavidyalaya Ausa has organized a wonderful grand knowledge sharing webinar series with the aim of women empowerment and women dignity. So I am very thankful to respected principal for giving me this opportunity to introduce a resource person on this virtual platform. Many special thanks goes to all the respected organizing committee members and big thanks to all the respected participants. Those are joining very regularly from all over India and abroad also, and they are making this series a very successful series. So it's my pleasure. I am here to introduce today's keynote speaker, Miss D.P. DERAIN SMILY from Shri Krishnaswamy College for Women from Chennai. Topic of presentation is influencer marketing. DERAIN ma'am is working as assistant professor in Shri Krishnaswamy College for Women, and she teaches the subjects like securities law and market operations, business environment, corporate and business law, principles of management, business ethics, etc. She has completed number of projects and published a number of research papers on national and international level. She received cash award for university first rank holder. She received best organizer award for organizing an international conference. She organized and have been a convener for programs both offline and online. She has strengths like enthusiastic learner, good communicator and listener, etc. So after this introduction, I would like to request today's keynote speaker, Honorable Miss DERAIN ma'am, please start your speech. Thank you. Welcome ma'am.
Thank you, Anita ma'am. I thank Shri Kumarswamy Mahavidyalaya College for inviting me here. I thank Dr. Bedkar sir for inviting me to deliver a talk on influencer marketing. Before we move into the topic, I would like to share my screen. Is my slide visible?
Yes ma'am, yes.
Okay, so what is this influencer marketing and how did this come into existence? This influencer marketing is a fairly new topic, and this came into role play after this pandemic where everyone started to use social media platforms. Everything was virtual, everything was data driven. So, and everyone started to use their social media and everyone's average screen time started increasing. So after all these things happened after this pandemic, this influencer marketing came into role play. Even the faculties, they started to share information to the students through social media, which is through WhatsApp. They started to share information. So everyone started using social media, and this influencer marketing came into role play. What is this influencer marketing? Influencer marketing is a way that brands can promote the products through endorsements or recommendations from influencers and content creators on the internet. So which means that influencer marketing is a way that the organization uses to promote their products through social media platforms, and they try to attract their customers. Like we have for Fruity, we have Alia Bhatt endorsing the product. For Byju's, we have Shah Rukh Khan endorsing the product. So when we see these celebrities endorsing the product, immediately we pay attention to the product and we think of acting on it. Maybe we think on buying the particular product when we see the famous celebrities promoting the particular product. So this is called as influencer marketing. So the examples which I told you now is those are celebrities and those are people of high dignity, and when we see that, we start to buy. But then influencer marketing targets micro influencers. Influencer marketing, it targets micro influencers who are people who belong to the particular locality. So when they belong to a particular locality, we see the person, maybe we know the person also personally, and when that person is going to tell about a particular product, when the person is going to promote about the particular product, we happily believe it and try to act upon it, which is called as influencer marketing. So this is prevalent after the pandemic. So these are the few social media platforms which are used by influencers. Instagram, where teenage people use it very highly. So influencers use this as a major social media platform to influence the people. Facebook, where Facebook is the mostly or widely used social media platform. Twitter, Snapchat, WhatsApp, there are so many, LinkedIn. Through every social media platforms, the influencers are there, and the organizations are trying to catch the influencers, and through the influencers they are trying to attract the customers. Now, how did this influencer marketing gain a lot of importance? So before we go into this, how did this gain a lot of popularity? I would tell you, last year Alan Solly, when they wanted to introduce their new product in the marketplace, they started a campaign called Shoot for Solly. Okay, so last year it was that Alan Solly, they wanted to introduce their new product. We all know that Alan Solly belonged to a clothing sector, so they wanted to introduce their new product for which they chose a campaign. They named the campaign called as Shoot for Solly, and they chose this influencer marketing strategy. So what they did is, all over the nation, they chose some 22 influencers who are very famous in Facebook social media platform. They chose 22 influencers, and to those influencers, what they told is, you can shoot with Solly, and you can choose your own photographer and make a photo shoot, and you will have to tag it on a particular day in your profile. That was the thing told by Alan Solly, and they supported all the influencers from the remote place. This is what was done by Alan Solly. So on a particular day, when these influencers tagged the picture along with the hashtag shoot for Solly, all the common public, they were able to look into the Alan Solly's new product launch, and on a particular day they were able to create some 4 million impressions on a particular day. So which means that in the description link, maybe they will give the link through which we can buy the product also. So it was 4 million impressions on a particular day itself. So it is a very vast publicity. On a single day, they were able to reach some 4 million common public people, and they were able to attract so many of them through this influencer marketing. So this is how this influencer marketing has gained so much of popularity. And if you see in this marketplace, there are so many people who are becoming influencers nowadays. Even a common man, when he is reviewing a food or any products or any cosmetics, then he gains immense popularity among his friends, among his locality, and he himself will become an influencer where many followers would be following him. So many people are becoming influencers nowadays. Then influencer marketing agencies are growing in popularity, which means that there are so many agencies which are helping out the organizations to find the influencers in social media. So there are agencies of that kind which is helping the organization to find the influencers. Then there are more content options. So in olden days, it is like we will have to go through the textbook and we will have to gather all the information. So that was the case before. But nowadays, it is not like that. There are more content options, like we have YouTube, we have Insta, we have Facebook, or we have blogs. Everything we have. Maybe you can say Clubhouse, where people together they meet and they have meetings and they share the information. So many options are there in order to get the information. So yes, because of that, this influencer marketing is gaining more popular. Then influencers are showing more of their reality. So before, if you see the influencers, sometimes they might make false claims, but now it is not the case. Influencer marketing, in order to gain immense popularity, they are showing reality, or telling the real advantages of the products. Next, moving on to the different types of influencers. So the different types of influencers, here you can see there are influencers are categorized into 5 types. So first one is mega influencers. So mega influencers are the celebrities who have more than million number of followers or million number of fan base. So those people are called as mega influencers. Then next one is macro influencers. Macro influencers are the people who have followers between 5 lakh and 1 million followers. So macro influencers they can also be celebrities or content creators, are called as macro influencers. Then you have mid-tier influencers. Mid-tier influencers are people who have fan base of 50,000 to 5 lakh followers. So those people are called mid-tier influencers. The next is macro influencers, who is gaining immense popularity nowadays. So micro influencers are people who have fan base of 10,000 to 50,000 people. They have a fan base or followers of 10,000 to 50,000 micro influencers. And nano influencers are people who have followers from 1,000 to 10,000. Now, these organizations who are very much wanting to use influencer marketing strategy to promote their product, those organizations are targeting on the micro influencers, because micro influencers are people who belong to a particular locality, as well their followers know them very well. The influencer also know the followers personally. Because of that, because of high confidence, they try to motivate the customers, they try to motivate their peer groups, and they make them buy the product. For this purpose, the organizations are nowadays targeting the micro influencers. Now next is how businesses are using the influencer marketing strategy. So how they are using, so the ways they are using is, first thing is to promote their store. So in order to promote their store, they choose an influencer, and through the influencer they promote their store. And secondly, to share user generated content. So when big brands are advertising their product, people are like, sometimes they believe that whatever they are claiming are true, sometimes they don't believe on the products. So it is good that the organization, they will share the user generated content of the influencer. So when the influencer is saying something about the product, he would maybe he would tell his testimonial after using the product. So when he is saying so, the people or the customers, when they look at that testimonial, they easily buy the product rather than believing the organization directly. So the organizations, what they are doing is, they ask the influencers to post about the particular product in their social media page, and they are asking to share that link to them so that they can put in their website. When the customers look into that particular link and when they see the testimonials of the influencer, they immediately try to buy the product. So that is sharing user generated content. Then use of testimonials from the influencers. So organizations are making these influencers use the product and share their testimonial, and through that they are attracting the customers. Then offer a promotion. So offering a promotion with the influencer is, so when they have a tie-up with the influencer, maybe they give offers to the influencer, like the influencer also would put that in the description box when they are advertising about the product. When they are promoting the product, they give the details about the product in the description. So when you click on that link, maybe they will say, when you click on the link and go for buying option, you might get some 10 or 20% discount. And you also, as customers, when we buy the particular product, we get discount and we buy it. So it would be easy for the organization to calculate the return on investment also. So through a particular influencer, how well they were able to attract the customer and what was the profit that they received through the particular influencer. It would be easy for them to calculate. So when they offer promotion and all, it would be easy for them to attract a huge number of customers. Then as I told you already, these organizations are trying to work with micro influencers. So micro influencers know their followers personally. Since they know the followers personally, whatever they say, the followers also believe them. So this is how businesses are using influencer marketing strategy to grow their business. So how is this influencer marketing have impact on every individual? So influencer marketing, it has its own positives. It is helping the organization to sell their products and all, but then it has its own negatives. So here in this discussion, we are going to see how this influencer marketing is influencing badly or creating a negative impact on the individuals. How negative impact it is having on the individuals. That is what we are going to see in this session. So firstly, it creates depression and anxiety. Sometimes it creates depression and anxiety. So how? So when through this influencer marketing, when influencers are trying to tell about a particular product, then what as an individual a person think is, I don't have the product, I don't have money to buy the product. So these thoughts make the person very much depressed. So when a person is depressed, it creates irritation, it affects the sleeps, it lowers the self-confidence. So much of things happens. So how to overcome this depression or anxiety which is in the mind of a person because of all these social media's hindrances? This depression and anxiety comes into place, and how should we overcome that? So it is through regular exercise. So we will have to allocate a person, as an individual, the person has to allocate some 15 to 30 minutes daily for exercise. So once we start to do things, they say that when we follow a habit for 21 days, then automatically from the 22nd day, we will be following automatically we will be doing the same thing. So it is that every day we must practice the habit of exercising. So sometime we are staying away from the mobile, sometime we are staying away from the social media. So that is very important here. So exercising is very important. Next is eating healthy foods, fruits, vegetables, and mix of everything. So eating healthy food. So when we eat healthy foods, it means that we also stay very energetic all over the day and we are not depressed anymore. Then we shouldn't be concentrating as an individual. A person shouldn't be concentrating on the problems alone. Rather than concentrating on problems, there are so many good things that would happen on their way. So they'll have to concentrate on the positives and not concentrate on the negatives, or they shouldn't concentrate on the financial conditions which they were worrying about. So they shouldn't be concentrating on all those things. Rather concentrate on the positives and be gratitude about it. Then expressing oneself. So expressing oneself is, so few people would be good in drawing, few would be good in painting, few would be good in singing or dancing. So like that they would be good at. So expressing yourself is, rather than staying on social media all the 24 hours or all over staying with social media, a person has to express themselves. Like they should have the habit of, maybe if they are having the hobby of painting or drawing, they'll have to spend time on that, so which would relieve them from depression or anxiety which happened due to some social media which affected them. Then they'll have to notice good things. So there are so many good things that happens around us, so they'll have to focus on those good things. They should be hopeful, they should be happy. So by these means a person can overcome depression and anxiety. Next, it is cyberbullying. So what is this cyberbullying? Cyberbullying is since as we are talking about influencer marketing, so when a person is reviewing about a product or a cosmetic or whatever it is, when a person is reviewing and we find that it was useful and whatever he said was reality, then immediately we start to follow the particular page. So what happens is, we don't know the third party, but then we start to follow and we get the friends of so many others also, and they start to message us. So when they start to message us, sometimes it might be bad words or embarrassing us, sometimes it would put us in sad situations. All these things happens when we are in contact with some other person whom we do not know. So in those situations, maybe sometimes we would feel very isolated, we would feel very embarrassed, we would feel very humiliated. So in those situations, we shouldn't respond immediately to the person, whatever might be, whatever message that person would have sent in that social media. It is that the individual shouldn't respond immediately. Next thing is talking about it. So we would have our own family members, friends or near and dear ones we have, so we should talk about it to the person and find a solution. And next is sympathizing. Sympathizing here talks about, the person, when he is bullying the other person, then it means that the person who has bullied, he himself is in some problem, and because of that only he has bullied the other person. So we'll have to think what situation he was in, so that would give us a solution. Next is stop checking post frequently. So whenever there is a post in Instagram, so immediately we have a habit of looking into it. We also have all the notifications and all on in our social media apps. So immediately when someone posts something, immediately we get notification and immediately we start scrolling our pages. So that shouldn't be the case. We'll have to stop checking the post frequently. Avoid checking it, maybe take a slight break. Next, it is how to deal with fear of missing out. So few people are like, influencer marketing is like they keep on posting about things, they keep on posting about any of the products which they have bought. Influencers, they do that. So as fan base or as followers, what people think is they will have to follow all the updates which is put by their influencer. That is what they think. In case if they are going to miss out something, then they feel very bad about it as well. When the influencer is putting something on his page, then immediately the fan base also thinks that, okay, I'll have to buy the product, I will have to own the product as well. That is what they're thinking. When they're not able to buy that, then they have this fear of missing out the particular product. So these types of fear of missing out of certain products, it has to be overcome. So how do they overcome this fear of missing out? So firstly, they will have to avoid comparison. So avoid comparison with celebrities, because they are celebrities and they earn a lot. Because of that, they endorse for the particular product. So firstly, what we'll have to do is we will have to stop comparing ourselves with the others. Then secondly, it is slowing our mind. Slowing our mind is few people would be like multitasking. They will be looking into Facebook, they will be looking into Insta, they will be looking into Twitter. So all over they will be looking into, and they feel very confused, and they would be finally they would miss out important things also. So that should not be the case. It is always good to slow down our mind, focus on one particular thing, so that we are able to do that particular work efficiently. So it is always good to slow down the pace than we are already into. So it is always good to slow down the pace so that we can do something very efficiently. Then we'll have to learn to say no. So everything is not for good. So sometimes it is good that we say no for few things so that it makes us feel happy. So learning to say no. Then taking a hike, which means rather than simply sitting on bed and scrolling the mobile through social medias, it is good that we take a walk, we take a exercise or do something like that. So physical activity, it tends to reduce this fear of missing out. It tends to reduce the depression in us. So take a hike. The next is cultivate the habit of gratitude. So gratitude is giving thanks to what we have rather than thinking of what we don't have. Rather than fearing about missing out, it is good that we have the habit of saying thanks to whatever we have. So when we have all these habits in us, we can definitely overcome the fear of missing out. And next it is avoiding unrealistic expectations. So when we see this influencer marketing, we see the influencers telling about so many attributes about the product. Sometimes we will not be in a position to buy those products, but we would have the expectations high, like okay, in a 10 days matter of time, after I get my salary and all, I'll be buying the product. So unrealistic expectation, which is not at all possible, but then we think that we would definitely buy it. So sometimes it is that we will have to avoid unrealistic expectations, because when we have unrealistic expectations, sometimes it would affect our work quality. It would affect our work quality, it would affect our self-confidence as well. So it is good that we shouldn't have any unrealistic expectations. So how should we avoid this unrealistic expectations? So first thing is, we will have to adjust our expectations as to what we have. So with respect to what we have, we will have to expect accordingly. The next is practicing gratitude. As I told already, it is that saying thanks to whatever we have in our hand. So practicing that habit would help us to a lot of extent. Then crush comparison. So what is this crush comparison? Crush comparison is it is like comparing the celebrity or comparing the influencer with us. So what he has and what we don't have. So comparing. So when we compare, we will have to make it a healthy comparison. Like we will have to see whether the post which is given by the influencer is making me happy, whether it is making me worse or feel better. So we will have to compare in that way whether the influencer's post is making me feel happy or worse. So that comparison would tell us whether to check the post or not. So that is called as crush comparison. The next it is being kind to ourselves. So how can we kind to ourselves? It is that when we do something, we shouldn't be telling that I should have done in a much better way. We shouldn't tell like that, but rather we should tell like I did my best with the availability of the resources and time. I did my best, I proved my best. That is how we'll have to encourage us. So being kind to ourselves is, we shouldn't be like I should have done better. We shouldn't be like that, but then I did my best with the available resources. That is how we will have to be positive. And next is limiting our expectations. So our expectations should not be very high, and we cannot limit our expectations in a particular night. We cannot limit it. So we'll have to practice this habit so that we are into it and we can limit our expectations. So this is how we'll have to avoid the unrealistic expectations that comes to our mind when we are influenced by the influencers in the social media. next it is tackling negative body image. So tackling negative body image in the sense, when we see the influencers, it is mostly prevalent with respect to health products. So when they endorse about health products, we see the influencers and we think that we have this negative body image about ourselves. So in order to overcome the negative body image, we will have to stop fat chat. Stopping fat chat in the sense, like my stomach is very fat, my arm is very fat. So we shouldn't use the term fat at all when we chat or when we talk. Whatever it is, we shouldn't use the term fat. So we'll have to stop using fat chat, stop dieting. So few people they diet, seeing the influencer telling, influencer would talk so many things, but then we shouldn't follow all those things. So certain people will see the influencer and they'll try to start diet, but then they'll finally fall sick. So we'll have to stop dieting. Then stopping judging. So comparisons will not be always true, or assumptions that we make will not be always true. So we will have to stop judging the people. Then managing media, so we would have so many social media apps, Instagram, Facebook and all. So we must manage media of like what is good for us and what is not good for us. We should know that, and accordingly we will have to use the social media. Then early prevention is when we see a person using the social media and behaving in a negative manner, like the person has started dieting, the person is very conscious about the health and like that. When we see a person like that, so immediately we will have to intervene there, and we will have to try to motivate the person on not to look into the influencers and lead a healthy life. So that is how we can prevent the person from negative body image. Next is restricting unhealthy sleep patterns. So how do we restrict these unhealthy sleep patterns? So once we are into social media and once we are into looking into the influencers, once we are followers of the influencers, we check in all the posts of the influencers. We keep scrolling the mobile, we keep scrolling all over the night, and we check into the post as well as the comments in the post section. So everything we keep checking, so which would hinder the sleeping patterns of a common man. So in order to restrict unhealthy sleep patterns, what are the things we'll have to do? So firstly, what we'll have to do is we'll have to establish a evening wind down routine, which means that so during evenings, what we will have to do, we will have to jot it down. Maybe we will have to make a journal of what we will have to do in evening time. Okay, so this time 6 to 7 for what you are allocating, for from 7 to 8 what you are allocating. So evening wind down routine has to be mentioned it has to be noted, so which would help us to lead a healthy life. Then next, it is limiting screen time before bedtime. So we'll have to limit our mobile usage before our bedtime. So during night we will have to limit our screen time. Then practicing screen-free hobby. So practicing screen-free hobby in the sense, maybe we are good at yoga, maybe we will do yoga during that time. So something which is apart from using mobile, we'll have to practice a hobby which is something apart from mobile, like it is practicing painting, practicing drawing, something like that. Then leave your phone outside the bedroom. So it is that while sleeping we should not carry our mobile phone. It should not be in like we can take it anytime and we can keep scrolling down. It should not be like that. So it should be away from our bedroom, and we should turn off all the notifications, because we have so many social media apps in our mobiles. All the time we receive the notifications, and immediately once a notification comes, immediately we switch on the mobile and see what is the notification and from whom we have received, and everything we start to look into. So that shouldn't be the case. We should turn off the notification so that it would lead to a good sleeping pattern. Next is some general addictions, overcoming general addiction. So what is this social addiction? Social addiction is social media is only for connecting with family and friends. So the social media's main ambition, why it was established, is in order to connect with family and friends. But then nowadays people are using it for killing the time. So they don't know how to spend their time. So for that purpose they are scrolling down the social media. So that should not be there. It is called as general addiction. So they are addicted towards social media. So we shouldn't be the slave to social media, or we shouldn't be the slave to mobile. Mobile should be the slave to its owner. So how to overcome these general addictions? So first is preventing access. So it should be away from you. Your mobile have to be away from you. Then modify feature on your device, which is turning off the notification. Then delimit a specific time of use, so which means that this is study time, I will not use my mobile. This is dinner time, I will not be using my mobile. This is family time, I'm not going to touch my mobile. So delimit a specific time of use, so that would be very good. Then self-talk. Self-talk is reminding always that some other work I have which is more important than the social media, which is more important than the influencer. So self-talk is the best, which is reminding oneself about certain important work that has to be completed. And next it is straightforward self-control. So self-control is having self-control and ignoring the phone. So that would be a good way to avoid social media platforms. So these are all some of the hindrances that is happening because of influencer marketing, and we saw about how we'll have to overcome those hindrances that is happening to an individual. Next is, so there are some fraudulent activities that are happening behind this influencer marketing. So what are those? Certain influencers, they are purchasing the followers, but the followers, they don't know that the influencers are doing like this, but they blindly believe the influencers and they try to buy the products whatever is endorsed by them. But the true thing is, influencers purchase followers as well. They have fraudulent accounts. Fraudulent accounts is they start their accounts in the name of celebrities and they start to influence the common man, which is again a biggest fraud happening, which we don't know. So finally, I would tell that two important things are very much necessary to stay away from the influencers. So what are those? First one is mindfulness. Mindfulness is, for example, I would tell you, we are locking our house and finally we come and ask everyone, see, do you remember where did I left my key? Do you remember where did I left my key? We'll be asking everyone. So we forget where did we left our key after locking the door. So mindfulness is missing there. So how to practice mindfulness is, so when we lock the door itself, when we have the feel of touching the key, when we have the feel of touching the key, it is mindfulness. We are very mindful. So we have the feeling that we are touching the key, we are locking the door. So by which we have that mindfulness, and when we are placing the key also, we stay mindful and we remember where we kept that particular key. So that is mindfulness. So when we are using social media platforms also, we'll have to be aware, so what we are using, why we are using, and is it necessary for us. We will have to remember that. So simply whiling away the time or simply killing the time, we shouldn't be using the social media, or we shouldn't be staying in the page of the influencer. So being very mindful would help us to stay away from the influence of the influencers. Then next it is practicing due diligence. Due diligence is, so influencers would post all things, all nuisance things they would post. It might be good or sometimes not good as well. So it is the duty of the individual to find out whether it is good or whether it is not good. So always we'll have to practice due diligence, only then it would help us on a long run. So by this I would conclude that let us practice mindfulness and due diligence and stay away from all these influencer marketing. Yes, I agree, influencer marketing has its own advantages. Influencers are telling good to us, but then it also has its disadvantages. So in order to overcome its disadvantages, we should practice mindfulness and due diligence, so that we stay in a healthier environment and make others also happy. And in case if anybody has any questions, I would happily take that.
Karad sir, please continue the session.
Hello sir. Hello ma'am.
Yes, sir.
This is Kapil Suryavanshi. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
My question is that most of the marketing is mostly based on the customer satisfactions.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Then why marketing is mostly based on the customer satisfaction? Why? What is the reason?
only when customers are satisfied, the marketers can sell their products.
Yeah.
Yes, but that reason it is very important, sir.
Question is why, ma'am? Means market only focus on that customer satisfaction, then the selling concept. Why, ma'am? Means what is the main central things about that?
Rather than selling concept, only in case if they are focusing on selling, they will miss on the quality, sir. But customers know they would be wanting certain features. So it is basically that first they'll have to do a research on what are the customers' needs. They'll have to find out customers' needs, and accordingly only they'll have to produce the products. Then only the customers be satisfied. So rather than focusing on selling concept, olden days they focused on selling concept and they wanted to gain profit, but nowadays it is not feasible. You shouldn't be focusing on selling concept, then you would miserably fail. But then when you focus on customer satisfaction, what features they wanted in the product, when you focus on that, definitely you can succeed.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
And ma'am, one thing is what is this follow stands for? FOLO.
Yes, sir.
Follow stands for.
Follow.
Yeah. FOLO.
This is relevant to? I'm
Yeah.
not sure, sir.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there anybody else with any more question, please?
Can you explain due diligence once again?
Yeah, due diligence is the customers or the individuals have to be aware of what they are doing. For example, we go to the market, we buy tomato, and when we come back home, and we shouldn't say that tomato is rotten and the seller has deceived us. We shouldn't be telling like that, because it is the customer's duty to practice due diligence. He has to use the diligence or knowledge there to understand that the tomatoes are rotten. We should not buy that. So there itself they'll have to think and wisely buy. So that is called as due diligence. So similarly in influencer marketing also, we will have to find out, so these type of influencers and about the product which they are telling, yes, that is good, and these things are bad. We will have to understand. We shouldn't directly blame the influencers for whatever they are saying.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
हेलो
Yes, sir.
अरे यार हिंदी में बोलो मराठी में बोले नहीं आ रहा इंग्लिश
Madam, was I clear about due diligence?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Any more question from anybody, please?
Yes, sir.
हेलो प्रकाश सर
Yes, sir, yes.
अरे यार हिंदी बोलो ना ये नहीं आ रहा इंग्लिश कुछ भी
Ma'am, he wants explanation in Hindi.
No. He is
No, sir.
doing wrong. What resource person explain, we have to listen. It's limitation of the languages, and he is using something rough words. He is not requesting. He is not knowing that the resource person is from South Indian. So she maximally she not knowing Hindi and other languages. Please understand all these things.
Any more question from anybody, please?
No, sir. Thank you.
हेलो मैम
Honorable ma'am.
मैं एक सवाल थोड़ा हिंदी में बोलूँगा कोशिश करना मैं कोई सज्जन भी बोल रहे हैं कि थोड़ा हिंदी में बताएं अगर समझ में आएगा तो बोलना मैं माफी चाहेंगे जो कुछ विज्ञापन टीवी के ऊपर ऐसे आते हैं मैम जो बच्चों के लिए उपयोगी नहीं होते यानी बच्चों को उनका कोई लेना देना नहीं होता मतलब जैसे शराब वाइन कुछ इस तरह के जो विज्ञापन दिखाई देते क्या बच्चों को इन्हें दिखाना चाहिए या बच्चों के ऊपर इनका कुछ गलत प्रभाव पड़ेगा क्या
Sir, already wine advertisement or that is already banned, sir. So this is irrelevant questions, I think.
सर थोड़ा सा एक जैसे वेस्पर है, कंडोम है, ये तो बैन नहीं है सर। और छोटे बच्चों के ऊपर उनका कुछ असर पड़ सकता है क्या?
Sir, we are teaching the sex education right from the adult education right from the 6th or 7th class, so I don't think this question is relevant. So you may ask any other question, sir.
नहीं, छोटे बच्चे जैसे 7 से नीचे उनको दिखाना चाहिए, नहीं दिखाना चाहिए?
Vasant Kumar sir, here all are eager to listen. You don't stop to someone to ask. What he want to ask, he should ask. You don't interfere in that, please.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Honorable ma'am has delivered very nice lecture on the topic influencer marketing, and some active participants have asked questions. Is there anybody who wants to ask any more question? I think nobody has any more question. So after this very good keynote speech and question answer session, now I would like to request the chief organizer and chairperson of this webinar series, Honorable Principal Dr. M. Ambedkar sir, to deliver his concluding words. Please sir, welcome.
Thank you, Professor Karar sir, all the organizing team committee members of our college, including Vice Principal SD Misal sir, Dr. Anita Dhole, Dr. Dayanand Patwari, Dr. Anil Wadkar sir, who is in journey but joining and listening carefully, Professor K.N. Kadam sir, IQC coordinator Sanjay Kale sir, Dr. Jamuntrao Kadam sir, and the today's resource person DP DERAIN SMILY ma'am. Today's topic was on influence marketing. It is most related to all because we all are customers. We all are getting information from social media, and daily we are scrolling our mobile or laptop to get to reply to respond with the notification, and there may be some health problems, depression problems, or any fraud problems, or maybe having some economically financial loss also. So today's resource person have carefully said all these things, what are the habit, what should be avoided, how should we believe on such influences, and how we interact, or how we stop that, or how we continue that. Everything was very too much needed to us because everyone trying to buy some product from online mode and all these things. Few persons are doing its advertisement, so all the social media is throwing all the information on us, and we are millions of the customers are buying or searching all these things and getting information from the social media. Thank you madam for giving such a best information, also the caretaking information, how to take our sleep, how to do our habits, how to continue our regular life, how to stop mobile use of mobile. All these things are very useful to us, and its topic was very best related to all because all we are customers. That's why this information was so much needed to us. Thank you madam for joining here and delivering a best speech for us.
Thank you, sir.
Now on behalf of Shri Kumarswamy College Ausa webinar series organizing committee, I am here for the formal vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to thank today's honorable dignitary DP DERAIN SMILY ma'am from Shri Krishnaswamy College for Women, Chennai. Ma'am, you have accepted the invitation of our college and graced us with an enlightening lecture on the topic influencer marketing. You have cleared all related aspects of it. So on behalf of the organizing committee of Shri Kumarswamy College Ausa, I sincerely thank you ma'am. I also thank the chief organizer and chairperson of this webinar series, Honorable Principal Dr. M. Ambedkar sir, for his continuous efforts to run this webinar series, and he always tries to cater new topics which can be beneficial for the audience, So on behalf of the organizing committee, I thank you, sir. I also thank all participants for their punctual participation, their silent listening, and their active participation in the question answer session. Thank you, participants. I also thank Dr. Anita Dole ma'am for giving introduction of today's chief guest. I request participants to fill feedback link so that you can have your certificate, and at the end, with the permission of chief organizer and chairperson of this webinar series, I announce here that today's webinar is over. Thanks to all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.